Friendship with God. An uncommon dialogue. Four. I should think it would take a lot of nerve for people to start demanding things of God. I prefer the word courage. Yes, I've already told you that having a true, working friendship with God will take a change of mind, a change of heart, and courage. How can I rearrange my entire understanding of my right relationship with God to the point where I get that it's okay for me to demand things of God? Not simply okay, but the best way to get results. Okay, but how do I get this? How do I reach that understanding? As I've said, you've got to understand, first, how things really work. That is, how life works. But we'll get into that in a minute. First, let's lay down the 7 steps to friendship with God. Good, I'm ready. 1. Know God. 2. Trust God. 3. Love God. 4. Embrace God. 5. Use God. 6. Help God. 7. Thank God. You may use these same 7 steps with anyone of whom you choose to make a friend. You really could, couldn't you? Yes. In fact, you probably do use them, unconsciously. If you used these steps consciously, you'd make friends with everyone you meet. It would have been nice to have been given those steps when I was young. I was so socially inept then. My brother always made friends easily, and I never did. So I tried to make his friends my friends. It was tough on him, because I always wanted to go where he wanted to go, do what he wanted to do. By the time I got to high school, I developed my own interests. I still loved music, so I joined the marching band, the choir, and the orchestra. I was also in the photography club, on the yearbook staff, and a reporter for our school newspaper. I was in the drama club, the chess club, and, perhaps most notably, on the debating team, the championship debating team, I might add. And high school was when I got my start in broadcasting. One of the local radio stations got the idea to do a high school sports report every night, using student announcers. I was already the student public address announcer at all of our football and basketball games, so I was a natural to be selected as the representative from our school. It was my first exposure to radio, and it launched a 35-year career. Still, with all that I was doing, or perhaps because of it, I wasn't making many friends. I'm sure that most of this had to do with the fact that I had developed an enormous ego. Partly as a compensation for my younger years when I was constantly being told by my father that I was to be seen and not heard, and partly because I'd always been a bit of a show-off. I'm afraid that I became unbearable. Not many kids in high school could stand me. I know what that was about now. It was about seeking the approval from others that I did not feel I was getting from my father. My dad was very stingy with praise. I remember the time I won a debating tournament and came home with the trophy. My father's only comment, "I didn't expect anything less." It's tough to feel good about yourself when a championship isn't enough to get even a little praise from your father. The saddest part about his comment was that I know he thought it was praise. So I developed the habit of telling my father everything that I was doing, and about all of my accomplishments, hoping to one day hear him say, "That's incredible, son." Congratulations. I'm proud of you. I never heard it, so I began looking for it from others. I haven't shaken the habit to this very day. I've tried to mute it, but I haven't shaken it. What's worse, my own children would probably tell you that I've been equally blasé about their achievements. And the sins of the father are visited upon the son. You really do have a father issue, don't you? Do I? I hadn't thought about it in those terms. No wonder you've had a difficult time thinking of me as somebody who knows everything about you. No wonder you've had a problem with the concept of God at all. Who said I've had a problem with the concept of God? Come on, it's okay. You can acknowledge it. Half the population of your planet has that problem. And for largely the same reason, they see God as a kind of parent. They imagine I'm going to be like their mother or father. Well, you are called God the Father. Yes, and whoever came up with that should be ashamed. I believe it was Jesus. No. Jesus merely used the idioms and the language of his day, just as you are doing here. He didn't invent the idea of God as a father. He didn't. The patriarchy, with its patriarchal religions, had established itself long before Jesus. Then you are not our Father, who art in heaven. No, I am not. Any more than I am your mother in heaven. Well, then, who are you? We've been trying to figure this out for thousands of years. Why don't you give us a break and just tell us? The problem is that you insist on personifying me, and I am not a person. I know that. And I think most people know that. But it sometimes helps us to think of you as a person. We can relate to you better. But can you? That's the question. Can you? I'm not so sure you can. One thing I will say, keep thinking of me as a parent, and you'll have a devil of a time. I'm sure that was just a turn of phrase. Of course. Well, if we aren't supposed to think of you as a parent, how should we think of you? As a friend. Our friend, who art in heaven. Exactly. Boy, would that turn some heads around on Sunday morning. Yes, and it might also turn some thinking around. Yet, if we could all think of you as a friend rather than a parent, it might make it possible for some people to really relate to you at last. You mean they might one day become comfortable with me knowing what their friends and lovers know? Touché. So what do you say, do you want a friendship with God? I thought I already had one. You did. You do. But you haven't been acting like it. You've been acting as if I'm your parent. Okay, I'm ready to get off that. I'm ready to have a fully functioning friendship with you. Great. So here's how to do that. Here's how the whole human race can have a friendship with God.